Disruptor, Rubik, Nyx, Batrider, and they went with a Wraith King, which may or may not excite you.
That does excite me actually. I think Wraith King has some room rather.
He's got to go like Armlet for the increased attack speed, and then he's got to go BKB just to do anything else other than stun like twice during a fight. He just
Well,
frustrates me. On
it
paper, he's not bad. He's
it
just
kind
not
of depends on
good.
of the trailing though. You know, if you can have a good enough trailing where he really gets going, I think he's a pretty big force to be reckoned with. I mean, he has an Aegis for crying out loud. Every, 180 seconds lower at the
Yeah, he's
lower
going to be
levels.
farming
So
against a Prophet too, so he can easily lock that down for a kill between the three of them. They even have a glimpse back on Disruptor if he's present. So yeah, I get where you're coming from. I do. I just think there's many other effective heroes. Like if they had gone with something like a Gyrocopter who would have been free farm against the Nature's Prophet, how are they going to push against that high damage of a flat cannon and relative free farm? That would concern me more than a Wraith King, don't you think?
yeah, I guess so. Gyro is just so favored right now. I do feel like SK has, or rather Wraith King has a spot in the scene though. I think he's just still getting kind of played around with, but I think he's definitely
In
viable.
a dual lane, sure. I'll
He,
buy it on a dual lane. If you have a second
yeah.
carry option, yes, I agree 100%.
Yeah, it might be rough this game since he is the sole carry for them. That is indeed kind of a questionable thing. But I mean, for Region, look what they have. They have a Nature's Prophet, a Mirana. It's not that scary for a Wraith King. I think he'll be fine as long as he just doesn't get crowd controlled. So we are probably going to have to see a BKB out of him at some point. Otherwise, he's just going to get kited to death
It's
this
got to be
game.
early. It's got to be like first item, and then you don't have
Probably.
any attack speed either, which that's why it concerns me. Armlet has to increase the attack speed unless he goes for something early on like Midas, which I also think would be an equal mistake. I think they need to be just as aggressive as the push lineup they're facing down is, which means to me the higher damage items you go earlier allows you the opportunity to also just shut down these early push elements. You're not going to be able to stop Nether Blast or Shadow Shaman's wards unless you work as a team, and that doesn't happen unless Enso leaves lane, because Rubik and Disruptor are not the only roam elements you need to shut those said wards down, in my opinion. So we'll see how it goes. Game underway. Nature's Prophet doesn't bother showing up into lane, actually just goes for the jungle with a soft gank coming towards Batrider. Stun thrown out. Mirana tries to follow up with arrow, and immediately they throw up Firefly. Will it be enough? They ensnare, try to get a hold. He goes over the trees, burns him down at the same time. So 60 HP, lives and survives first blood. The difference was that arrow, and they didn't know which way he was going to jump, but favorably jumps to the left, and Animal Mother lives. And surprises me by going to the off lane and yielding Nyx Assassin in the mid lane. And we haven't seen this for 2 years since Breathing Fire did it.
He's not gonna last long in the off lane. It's a really scary tri lane for regenerate. So I expect we could see him go to the woods eventually. It wouldn't be a bad thing. He could get his blink farmed up instead of just getting zoned out of the lane. And if he gets hit by an arrow, I mean, I'm surprised he didn't die in that last engagement. It was incredibly close. All he had was Firefly to his name, so no means of stopping them from coming forward with like a flame break or anything like that. So it's a very scary lane, and at the very least, Mirana is going to get a lot of farm here. Nyx in the mid lane does deal with Pugna pretty decently though, and that's maybe why they opted to put the Nyx there instead of the Batrider. So we'll see how Fury in this mid lane does fare against that Nyx.
But so in retort to that, what I will say is that I think a Batrider with an early blink against this lineup is substantially scarier than is a Nyx Assassin who is attempting to shut down a Pugna. I don't think there's any feasible way to shut down the Pugna other than mana burn him, but he's still going to get a fair amount of farm. Good Carapace from Relic senses the actual Nether Blast coming in and avoids all of that damage, actually returns it to Fury, and Fury stuck at about half HP with no bottle in sight yet for about 200 more G, with Knave rotating over to the lane to support him. Still, the argument stands that a Blink Dagger against a Nature's Prophet, being able to grab any of these squishier elements that Regen has, I find personally to be more efficient. Gank, bottom lane, stun, right down, follow up, ensnare. This time they're going to get him. First blood on Animal Mother. Nature's Prophet shows up just to reward himself with some of that assist money. Hopefully he got an auto in there in time as they go up 1-0. So really good response. And Batrider, I'm surprised it didn't happen earlier as he overextended himself down to that bottom tier 1 tower very early on here.
He did, and he's going back down there, and I don't know. I mean, Rubik is getting some pulls done in this lane. Actually, double pulling. Does he manage to do so? Nope, that one doesn't actually happen, but this one over here does. So I think they are setting up for that Batrider to come on over, and start getting up some money, because I do have to agree with you. I can't argue that Blink Dagger really early this game is not going to be super effective, because the push will come. You know, at the once they're level 8 or 9, easily they're going to group up and start pushing some towers. And if you have a Bat Rider with a Blink Dagger that can single out any of these heroes, it's going to help so much. The whole anti-push from No Earthspirit is actually pretty decent. SK doesn't really fit into that too much, but I mean, you do need a carry aspect of some kind.
I really, again, do not get where they're coming from. There's just so much CC against that SK that even if he starts getting his very slow attack speed off, he's not going to do much. So I'm against Ban Earth's lineup. If it goes late, they absolutely will have more than enough opportunities to win if Regen manages to not close this game out within 25 to 35 minutes. I will say that Ban Earth will win it just because their hero lineup gets substantially better. It depends all on how this first set goes. Once Pugna hits a high enough level, let's just say 7, to get Nether Blast fully equipped, you see Shadow Shaman also hit an equal level, which he can absorb experience against Mirana. That is an acceptable loss for them because Mirana doesn't have to be huge. She just needs to arrow, follow up 2 different forms of CC. The only other person I would look to not get experience would be someone like Venge, who roams over and either kills or saves mid lane. Just really solid lineup in theory against someone like Ban Earth's lineup.
Yeah, I think you have Nature's Prophet, who can really be in any fight. And we saw him go to the bottom lane where he wasn't even really needed, but that option is always there. You always got to realize that there is that X factor that could come into these fights, and already we see this push coming down on this bottom lane just with these 3 support heroes. No wards available just yet on that Shadow Shaman, but it doesn't matter. They have enough that they can do it against this Rubik, who's just kind of trying to fend off the lane as best as possible. They should be able to get this tower, get some early gold going towards the supports and the rest of the heroes, but soon we are going to see Relic start to do some rotations. He is level 6 in this mid lane with that bottle, so depending on which runes come up here pretty soon at the 6-minute mark.
You just see that courier drop off on Skeleton King. That disappoints me greatly.
Nope.
Free farm, 5.5 minute Hand of Midas here on free farm. Just really not kind of disappointing me. I haven't gotten to last hits and denies. 5.5 minutes in, he is only 35 for 14, though he is game leading against a Mirana who is 20 for 3 on the other end. His team not doing too shabby, 22-0 on Bat Rider, who should potentially be shut down. Did indeed yield first blood, but still rather effective in his lane, and that Nyx Assassin is doing well for himself at 28-5 against a Pugna, who is 18 for 3. The only one who is kind of irrelevant is the Nature's Prophet at 20-0, who is just simply jungling to yield that SK free farm, and in theory should have 60 last hits by now on an extreme end, maybe 50, but he's 10 behind where I would prefer to see him at, so I will definitely keep an eye out to see if he misses some of these last hits, because it's not doing his team any favors if he doesn't spiral out of control here.
Yeah, the Hand of Midas pickup is interesting. It signals that they want to go late game. They know they can go late game. But if this push comes down really hard and the rest of the 4 heroes from No Earthspirit can't handle it, they're going to need that SK. And with having that Hand of Midas, not something else earlier on, that might end up biting them in the butt later on. But we'll see how it goes. I think there's squishy enough heroes on Regen's side that when you have people like Nyx, who is actually going to secure a kill on Pugna all by himself, as I was saying though, people like Nyx and Bat Rider who can single out people so well and just burst them down incredibly quickly, especially on the Nyx, I think it's going to be hard. I mean, Pugna does not have a large HP pool, neither does Shadow Shaman, neither does Vengeful Spirit, so you can easily pick those heroes off. So in these pushes that we're going to see out of Regenerate, they've got to have good positioning.
Yeah, exactly. If they don't play effectively with good positioning, I think there's a cause to argue there that there's nothing that Regen will be able to do. But if Regen just bring along some sentries, if they position their supports all next to one another, there won't be follow-up from Nyx Assassin. He'll break Vendetta. Rubik jumped on bottom lane, way overextended, right on top of an Obs ward, will go down. Mirana wasting yet another arrow, just not able to connect. So Samu not able to do much of anything in terms of landing arrows, but at least he's gaining some kills for his team. He's ramping up, and they should manage to take the bottom tier 1 tower as Rubik looks to port down. We'll see if anyone else follows up. Fortification expent. Lineup, arrow missing Knave again, not able to connect. Will cost them the opportunity at a kill unless they move forward even more, but instead, Regen takes their winnings on that tier 1 on bottom and elects to back off. Relic mid lane, Vendetta up against Fury, was looking for an opportunity to jump on him Did not find it yet and doesn't have a lot of mana to follow up, nor does he have any charges in the bottle unless he finds the Invis rune as he heads towards bottom, right on top of 3 additional heroes.
Yeah, there's a sentry there too.
I know. That was popped down right as he walked in, so 6th sense kind of tingling, and he backs off. Thankfully so. He's going to go back to well as top tier 1 under a lot of pressure. Surprised this hasn't gone down sooner.
So really good levels on all the supports actually, especially on this Disruptor. Sitting at level 6 is a great thing for a Raptor. You definitely want to get that ultimate all leveled up. He goes into the kinetic field, so they're going to be trapped in that for quite a long time. They do look to defend this tower, though. We have VS TPing right into the fray, but her team's not there, and now she singles herself out. Arrow goes out, does not connect with anybody. Unfortunately, Shackles is applied to N, so he's in some trouble. Brutal Biscuit is trapped in that Ring of Death with the ultimate applied. He's gonna pop his ultimate. Definitely a good trade for getting that Nature's Prophet. VS is still in the fight. Fury joins it as well, but they're not gonna be able to secure any kills of their own, unfortunately. No Earthspirit evens it up 2 for 2 with that Nature's Prophet going down, but Regenerate does defend this tower.
Man, they have a sentry go down, and they cannot be expending these precious early game resources in that manner. If you're going to blow that much money on placing a sentry there as well as the river and not catch anything, you better hope that you make it up somehow. Nyx responding to a missed arrow with an impale, letting him know that he is planning on going nowhere in the lane. Shadow Shaman about halfway to that level 6, sitting at 5.5. Just needs to get those wards up and running so they can either have a run at split push or full push. And Nyx manages to just simply stun out Mirana and kill her. This is a game purely before the 10-minute marker that has been based on overextension time and time again.
It was just Impel, Burn, Vendetta, and then use the Vendetta damage to kill her. So, I don't know. Shadow Shaman wasn't around to really help out or anything, but I don't even know if he could have done anything in time, unfortunately. But Nyx is such a brutal hero. When you get those early levels in mid lane and you're not stuck at level 3 or 4 earlier on in the game, it helps your team out so much. We're going to see a level 2 Vendetta here pretty shortly out of him, and that's going to be absolutely brutal, especially for people like Nature's Prophet, who's going to be hanging out in the woods, could potentially be split pushing here once we get to 20 or 25 minutes. It looks scary when you look at it that way because Nyx is going to have so much mobility and so many rotations available to him.
I agree. If he continues to level up at this pace, he's going to be a monster. And looking into that gold graph, they have a 2K lead over their counterparts and don't even have a tower down just yet. About 5,000 headed towards 7,500 experience marker, and a lot of it is thanks to Nyx Assassin getting that solo kill mid. Batrider grabbing hold of Venge will take a stun, but not very much follow-up damage for them. He has his Blink Dagger as Ban Earth moves in. Mirana responds with her ultimate, and they place a sentry to see if they can force any rotations back in, and they plant a sentry again of their own. They had no intention of killing him, but maybe just CCing a follow-up as the top tower falls. The SK not able to, Wraith King not able to follow that up. Nature's Prophet dropping in to help Woot, who dropped his wards and is not going to do absolutely anything with them, Proof.
Yeah, it was. They didn't have enough damage output there at all to drop the wards. It definitely would have been better saved to either defend the mid tower or use it for a different type of push. But now they can't even defend the mid tower with that being down. And Batrider is primed and ready to jump on somebody. Does not have lasso available, but he does jump in, burns up Fury to death. He does go down here, and now Wolf Drake's in some trouble. Should get picked off. His allies are just dropping left and right as well. Brutal Biscuit gonna be the next to follow. Actually, is able to get out in time with that Shadow Blade, but the rest of his allies not so lucky. Wolf Drake still living, but there he goes, 3 down for Regen, and this is definitely not a great start for their push strategy, which cannot go late game.
I mean, maybe if you were getting farm, but Nature's Prophet, immediate Shadow Blade, I don't like that because Mirana has her ultimate to save you at all times. You have Sprout to buy yourself time unless you get caught out by someone like Firefly, Batrider, and Lasso. There's just so many weird things occurring with Regen, and it goes to show you might have the best theoretical lineup, but it's a lot to do with your execution, and that's what many strategists argue about this game, is that it does indeed come down heavily to your individual play. Can you play these heroes to the level in which you need to win the game? And it's not happening so far for Regen, but hopefully they can pick things up as a smoke has been popped on their ancient hill as they roam towards the opposing jungle, the only one in sight is Animal Mother, who is looking to maybe stack up these creeps as we're at the 52-second marker before the pause was executed.
Well, Batrider's only seen at 900 HP. They do have the 3 heroes over here. If you count Nature's Prophet coming in with a teleport, the Batrider could go down. But the question is, will Regen make it out of that fight? When you have 3 towers nearby that allies can easily TP to help try and save Animal Mother, then it gets a little risky, because then you might lose some heroes in the process of picking off that Batrider. And he does already have that blink, so it's not like you're really stopping his momentum in this game. He's already got that momentum, unfortunately for Regenerate. We will see how it goes. I think a Necro Book would have been better on the Nature's Prophet, because you do have a push-heavy lineup. So if you get the Necro Book, it helps out your pushes so much. And I guess he's just trying to go for more of a late game build to go up against Wraith King, but I don't think it's going to work. I don't think he can be able to go up against Wraith King. And there's that Nyx sneaking around the woods, picking off that Nature's Prophet, unfortunately.
I guarantee, had we seen Midas, he would have at least been back in the game in terms of experience. He's not going to be able to get away from heroes like Nyx Assassin, who are so heavily leveled at this stage that Shadowblade is almost like a do-nothing, especially if they can manage to get some dust on you. And they will have those rev elements. Top lane, 2-on-3. Batrider lasso up, immediately sheeped out. Wards dropped. Animal Mother in a lot of trouble. It's going to go down at the cost of Wolf Drake and maybe Fury if Fury doesn't turn things around. They do have, I believe, the ultimate on SK. He's going to come back. Wraith King on the rise, slowing down a lot of movement speed out of Total Biscuit, who's double invised. And again, Mirana going to be able to save you in time. Woot re-engaging on Enso. Enso in a little trouble with Relic backing up. Relic able to take out Prophet. Can they follow this up as their hard carry goes down? Relic looking to vendetta damage on Fury is going to immediately kill him. The damage coming out is 400 large and able to get out of the kinetic field is Mirana, who might be able to follow this up with a few kills of her own. One single auto attack right there on Disruptor, and now 2 more here on Knave will go down and gets a double kill going towards the triple. Has the attack speed on Maelstrom, but instead Wolf Drake finds the Rubik in time and kills him before the port. That's a 5-man wipe in total for Ban Earth on what looked to be a very promising beginning for...
Yeah, that's crazy. Your mic cut off at the end there. I hope you're still with me, though. You must have accidentally clicked it. Yeah, it turns into a tier 1 tower on top. Potentially, Wraith King is coming in here. Mirana should be able to get in and leap away if any danger comes. They're going to try and deny it. Nope, don't get to deny. But I don't think VS is making it out of this one alive. Enso is in there, stuns out. They don't even need a Flaming Lasso. It's still on cooldown, but they do secure the kills. My lights just flickered. Alright. Alright, it's just a light bulb going out. I thought my whole electricity was just pooping out on me, but we're still good. We're still here, guys. It's gonna be one of those nights, I think.
I know. Just anything that can go wrong will go wrong. We are the epitome of Murphy's Law when it comes to casting. Like, Assembly came up, and we had such a great cast starting off, and then we just died to your computer hating life.
Like 3 times in a row, my computer blue screen within, like, what, 5 minutes of each other or something? It was so depressing. That was such a bad day.
Hashtag casting life.
Yeah, seriously.
Stuff happens.
Does
well, Woot about to drop wards, hopefully down on mid tower. There it is. Fortification not up for Ban Earth. This will spell the death of their 3rd tier 1 tower. Nether Blast to follow it up and expedite things. Brutal Biscuit comes in. Ports coming through. Woot right now on top. And Flaming Lassoed by Animal Mother. Follow up from Disruptor is well placed on 2. Fury not able to do anything. He has a Nether Ward up and wards to back him up. And the Nether Ward taking a beating from Enso allows Fury the time to get through. Dust applied immediately over. And he is 2 steps further than I think they thought he was. Can SK get a stun? No, Enso doesn't see him in time, but he sees a Mirana. Now Mirana on the run trouble here as stun has come out and been disjointed. Fortunately, had that port on hand to get away. Benefit to Regen as they trade the Disruptor for Shadow Shaman and a tier 1 tower and not much else.
It was a trade too. The bottom tower went down on the Radiant side. So it was a tower trade and then the Shadow Shaman for a Disruptor. So even trades, I guess, all around. 13-8 is the score. We're sitting at 31k to 24k on the net worth for Ban Earth, taking the lead there. And the XP is about 10k rather difference as well. So a little bit of a lead for them. We'll see if we can see some more kind of rotations come down from Regen. They've got to keep the pressure down on these towers. And I gotta say,
I don't think they can do it.
They've done a decent job so far. They have taken down all the tier 1s, but it's going to be rougher. From here on out, to take down those tier 2s, you're going to have some great vision. This is a good vision spot. Maybe something even like behind here. You've got to have really offensive wards if you want to do
Oh
this.
yeah.
Because you got to
And we
watch for that
just
Bat
entered.
Rider.
Yeah, we just entered minute 18 as they go ahead and have a start up on Roche. It looks like Regen knows what they're doing. SK providing a very dynamic element of his crit as well as Vampiric Aura against it. But now getting caught out right now. Relic catches 3 inside a single impale. Enso following up. Barbed Armor applied. Woot cannot do anything but CC. Ward's dropped down. He knows he's going down, but traps him. And now Enso's in trouble. Enso has his ultimate, looking to go down and take some money with him, but look at his regen, keeping him up. In the meantime, Mirana goes down. Fury about to take a dive as well as all 5 from Regen are wiped out due to an insane start of the Vendetta break all the way down to the triple impale out of Relic. Playing out of his mind. This guy is 6 for 1 this game, 6 for 2 on Animal Mother, who had an off lane versus a tri lane and still manages to pull out like an under 14 or even 13-minute blink dagger and provide nothing but huge contribution to his team. This is just monster play coming out of Banearth, and I don't see a path back into this game for Regen as they are getting crushed under the weight of the gold graph very early on.
Yeah, I think that fight would have been a lot different. I don't expect a 5-man wipe to have happened from that for Regen. I think they could have taken some heroes with them, but oh man, that Nyx Impale, even if they had spotted out the Vendetta, if that Impale hadn't stunned 3 heroes, we could have even seen a totally different team fight. So really, really good plays out of Relic. He's just playing a really good game. He's sitting at 6-1 right now, and he's got really all the items he could ever want on a Nyx. You have that Blink Dagger for the initiation, so now you can really line those 3-man stuns up, maybe even 4-man stuns if he can really get it. He's going to sneak to the top lane. Does he have any form of detection? He does. He's got the dust. There goes the Vendetta into the dust. A few more right clicks, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it. He's just going to have to right click him down, but Nature's Prophet TP's out. He tries to blink in, but there's no room inside.
No, I think he whiffed it, but there might not have been room.
It was just the Nature's Prophet in there, though, so there should have been room unless it was just pathing because of the rocks, or I don't know.
Such is the detriment of not having the ability to double-check player perspective from caster's point of view.
Yeah.
They need to give us more tools.
They do.
I want tools, and I
Didn't
want them now.
they just add cinematic view or something where you could like zoom out really far as a caster?
They
so that's
did
kind of cool.
indeed. Yeah, no, they've added a few things here and there, but I would like some graphic support, especially minimap support on the actual draft. I think the draft is really rough for a viewer to stomach unless you know the 1 through 5 roles. And I actually heard Gods going on the other day about how the 1 through 5 system is outdated and it's inaccurate in terms of how the system works.
Oh yeah?
But I disagree. I highly disagree because everything seems to fit into that system nowadays unless you do something like a dual lane, in which case, which support is a hard support if you share. Initiation right now on top of Animal Mother gets spotted out. Aegis spent. We'll see if they can follow up. Mirana has her ultimate with some support down the hill. Blink out immediately over to Relic. Gets dumped out on this Nether Ward, just zapping away on Animal Biscuit, who's looking for a counter initiation. Dust applied to, I believe, 2 there. Nature's Prophet and Fury got hit. Did Woot also get hit? No, he did not. So it doesn't matter. Ult expires. Sentry Ward down right on top of them as they just jostle for position, but neither side gets what they want, and both will leave this empty-handed except for the Aegis forced out of Banearth.
And Relic has a gym. This is definitely what No Earthspirit needed to do to first of all, defend against these pushes, and then do pushes of their own. They're going to have complete map control. With that gym, there's going to be no vision available at all for Regen, and these pushes are just going to be brutal. Pugna goes down in the mid lane, and I don't know what Regen can do to dig themselves out of this, because even if you do turtle up and you do defend these pushes, as it goes to late game, you're still looking at a really tough matchup later on.
My argument is that if Pugna had become bigger than he was, and if Mirana had become bigger than she was, yes, but not right now. Initiation forthcoming. Wolf Drake in a lot of trouble, as well as Woot caught out immediately, and that is the entire support system with no Pugna, who has the AoE that would have followed up and killed elements like Animal Mother much earlier in the fight, but instead, Banearth gets away with losing 1 and at the cost of yet another tower. For Regen, who should be the push element at this stage. We're only 22 minutes into the affair, and still you see such a hard push come back from Banearth, who has the team that can just completely murder any of these squishy support in the background. And much of this was due to inadequate experience as well as misappropriated items, in my opinion, from Regen, and it'll be a huge learning opportunity as Ban Earth takes a seismic lead. Game 1, Gold Graph reading 14K in favor of Ban Earth, 20K in terms of experience, and I don't think that there's any end in sight that Regen wins this game.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be really rough. I mean, they have a decent way to defend against this, but again, what's the end of it? You know, you go up against an SK and some really, really farm supports out of Banned Earth, and look at their supports. These supports with money are brutal. Disruptor with an Ags already, that's something you don't get to see too often just because there's not that opportunity to farm it up. Rubik with, you know, having Blink Daggers and Force Staffs gives you a lot of mobility on your team, helps you get someone like Enso in or out of the battle so that he's not getting kited or picked off in these games, or in these fights rather. So it's rough because there's so much gold going in the way of Ban Earth that now you don't have to worry about just the Wraith King. You have to worry about someone like little Disruptor or, you know, a little Rubik.
Nyx Assassin is pretty much double their level, and if he hits 16, he's going to murk them in one shot. It's just gonna happen.
He's basically like the second carry element to Enso. Maybe even doing better. I mean, he's had such a really good game.
Samo narrowly escapes Batrider as it looks like Wraith King finishes up Radiance. Doesn't have it yet on the front line, but it's headed their way, and they're going to see if they can push with it. Arrow coming forward, able to dodge. Good ultimate out of Disruptor, but actually whiffs, seeing if he can glimpse someone back in, but is unfortunately not able to do so. It at least staggered the position of Regen enough that they've murdered 3. So Pugna, Shadow Shaman, and Venge go down, and they're still on the hunt. And so following it through, Relic going to be able to pick off Biscuit with that gem and not able to do anything as Samo. So it looks like we're just going to head into a game 2, guys. GG called out, and that is 24 minutes against the push strategy as Ban Earth takes game 1. This is CEVO Pro AM North America Season 4. My name is Ever, joined alongside by Prove Attitude. $5,000 on the line, guys, as this is week 5 out of 8 before heading into the playoffs. You can find us on Twitter at CEVO, that is CEVO, myself at EverX, EVERX, and Prove at Prove DOTA. We'll see you guys on the other side of this break.